So there we go.
Checkmate, King.
Live.
Right, Rick, over.
10-4.
We got you.
You're sort of cutting out, Marcus.
What?
You were sort of cutting out for a second.
Hey, this is an iPhone. iPhones don't cut out.
Okay, don't think we're live yet.
You there, Maddie?
Anybody see us live yet?
We're
Yes,
live.
we are live.
There
20
we are.
seconds live.
I got to mute now. Okay.
Don't pick your nose.
Okay, we're ready here, folks. 3, 2, 1. Welcome into Dronation for August 8th, 2022. We're calling is the DJI Avata is in the box. But we got some breaking news, folks, we're going to get to in a second here. One of our favorite new drone companies, Exo, has really hit the news cycle here. But we have a couple small little tidbits we want to cover first. Some meetups here. The Chicago Drone Meetup, hosted by the Fly Zone Drones, Michael and Sergio, and Half Chrome, is this coming weekend, and tickets are still available. For more details, go to the Fly Zone Facebook group to find out more details. And another drone meetup 2 weeks from today is Minefield 3.0, hosted by Ken Herron, is on August 20th. Again, for more details, check out Ken's Facebook page. So there you go. There's some of the notes. And one other quick little note here. Our friends over at Insta360, makers of many fine cameras, Marcus is a fan of theirs. They're running an August sale from the 8th, which is today, through the 18th, and they have up to $55 off some of their most popular models. Not their brand new one that just got released last week, but the models. I think the RS2 is $55. So if you're interested in Insta360, go over and check their website. I don't have to give you the website. That's insta360.com. But let's go around the room a little bit here, and then we're going to get right into our breaking news story on the Exo drone. So I usually go like kind of clockwise, and usually Marcus is right beside me, but DeMarco's up there today. So we'll go to DeMarco first and catch up what he's been up to since our last show.
Oh, me? Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay. No, same old stuff around here. Football practice, soccer practice, baseball practice. I did a little flying on Friday, but like nothing special, and same old here.
What were you flying? The Mini or the Air?
The Air 2S.
Ooh.
I went through 2 batteries on it. I'm breaking records over here.
You're really putting some miles on that thing.
I wouldn't say miles, though. Feet, maybe.
Feet.
No. But no, it is a fun drone. It is. You guys said it was good, and it's good. It's really good.
We wouldn't lie to you on DroneNation.
No, not at all. No.
Hey, now what kind of heat were you battling out there in the field?
Oh, that evening, it was in the upper 90s. Yeah.
Ooh, a little toasty.
So like this, yeah, like the past week or two, it has not been 101, 104. It's been the upper 90s, so cool weather for us.
Good.
How about you?
Update. Now let's go to down Michael Wright down there in cool Texas down there. Michael's sitting in there. He's sitting in one of the most important positions. He's a special guest host tonight, which is a very prestigious position in this show now. So, Michael, you have been on the show a while. How have you been doing lately?
Doing good. It only got to 101 yesterday, which is great. That's cool for us. I went out to local meetup with the North Texas Drone User Group and AUVSI meetup. We had a combination meetup. And
now, do we know anybody? Do we know anybody that's in that group?
I don't think you do. I've told them about the DroneNation yesterday about it.
Good. Thank you for the promotion. We'll see. Yeah, but, your checks in the mail, Mike.
Yeah, I've been a member of the North Texas group for about 7 years now. 6 years.
Really?
7 years, yeah.
Wow, that's great.
In fact, I even and day before yesterday, I drove out to see what they're calling the nest out in the Walgreens, where Wang in the Walgreens is delivering 4-mile radius.
Wow. And
they're also delivering in Frisco, which is about 5 miles away, 4-mile radius.
They're delivering by drone.
And it delivered by drone, yes. It's one of the 2 in the country. The other one's in I think Charleston, West Virginia, or somewhere like that.
You'll have to get some footage of that
The
sometime.
most popular item is coffee, and it's a free delivery service now. And I've looked into it. You got to be within 4-mile range, and it delivers it to your driveway, your backyard, wherever you want it, based on the clear space of the trees and obstacles. So they've been doing this for several months now, and it's one of the 2 places in the country that. And they've got a smaller. I've got a little YouTube I'm going to put up the next day or two, just showing the small one called Nest. And I didn't get out to the Frisco space, which is much larger field. But they can put it in a little parking space. Maybe it takes about 8 parking spaces wide, 8 or 10, and 60 feet across. And they got a little cubicle that they keep their equipment in. And Walgreens people come out there. They actually take the coffee or the ice cream or whatever, because they get within 10 minutes. They fly about 150 feet average height and 65 miles an hour. And they'll get to any location within 4 miles in less than 10 minutes.
Wow.
So this is closer than ice cream won't melt, hot coffee. And that's the biggest item right now, people ordering coffee.
Wow.
But, it's just a big trial. They're trying it.
Yeah.
Just don't spill any of that cock. Don't spill any.
In fact, there's the North Texas Council of Governments. I've posted on the website. They have a seminar every month, and Kenji's been on the seminar. Vic Moss has been on there at different times. Numerous people have, and they've grown the industry. And they had one yesterday or Saturday. It was on Wing, and then 2 other drone delivery companies. And it's real. If somebody wants to watch that, they'll be recorded or be online in another 6 or 7 days.
Okay.
And I can post a link on that. But it was all about drone delivery.
Wow.
On the one on Saturday. They pick different subjects every month, and it
That's
applies to anywhere across the country. It just happens to be located in Dallas-Fort Worth, and called the North Texas Council of Governments has a joint drone area that they group, and it's just educational,
No, that sounds pretty interesting.
Anyway, that's about it.
All right. Well, thank you for that update, and we're going to our one of our favorite guys here, Marcus. He's as you kind of knows the background, he's on location today, probably covering a hot drone story. But how you been, Marcus?
You got the hot part right. It's hot in Las Vegas. Yeah, I'm in Las Vegas. I'm at my brother's house. My younger brother drove up from Phoenix, and my sister lives here as well. So just me and all my siblings, and we're just kind of having a little family reunion for a few days. So yeah, I did. I brought the Mini 3 with me. It got really scrutinized. TSA. It was kind of interesting. It literally took me about nearly half an hour to get through TSA in Boise when I was leaving. I had it in my backpack. I had it in the kit in my backpack, and boy, they didn't like that, so they had to take it out, basically take everything out and run it through again. I've never run into that before. I don't know why. I've gone through with drones many, many times and never had that level of scrutiny, but for whatever reason, TSA was interested in that. And that was on Spirit Airlines, which is new in Boise. They just started flying from Boise this week.
Wow, I didn't know that. We have Spirit in my local airport. Maybe I could take a Spirit straight out to Boise.
They're only flying to Las Vegas, believe it or not.
Yeah.
But you probably could fly to Vegas, and then
they do have crazy routes. I'd probably have to fly to Miami to fly to Vegas, or fly to Florida to fly to Vegas. They have crazy.
What you should have said, Marcus, like you should have said, "Hey, I'm the guy that made that Honda lawnmower video." They would have been like, "Oh yeah, go ahead through."
Yeah, you should use it. You should use it. You know who I am card on them. Yeah.
I'm a big YouTuber.
Yeah. You should have.
And they're going, who? What?
Yeah. So, Marcus, we're going to give you the special privilege for introducing the super secret guest tonight on the show. Can you give the folks maybe a little bit of a hint they can guess around a little bit before we reveal them?
Yes. Now, we know Mike Wright lives in Texas, right?
Yes.
What would you call it, Mike? Central Texas?
I live in North Texas.
North Texas.
Well, North Central Texas, they call it. Actually.
North Central.
This fellow really lives in the far North Texas.
And very North Texas.
He lives in far North Texas. and he is I'm going to say definitely he is an expert of experts when it comes to particularly DJI products, but drones in general. When he talks, I listen, and we are.
We're having EF Hutton on then.
EF Hutton, yeah. So listen, you guys have probably already guessed. It can be the one and only Lauren Donauer.
All the way from Calgary.
How the heck am I going to live up to that big buildup? If you can't see, I think I'm blushing here.
or is that 35 Celsius heat wave?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it. Oh dear.
Well,
good evening, everybody.
Have you back again.
Hey, Lauren.
Thanks for having me. Good evening, everybody, and hi to everybody in the chat. And hope everybody's having a good time and trying to stay cool, because I don't know about you guys, but it's sure hot in my place.
Yeah, try it in Vegas, Lauren.
What's your temperature there?
Well, right now it's 100 degrees, but it was I don't think about 105. I think. Early.
Show us the pool, Marcus. Who's at the pool?
Yeah, okay.
Oh no!
DeMarco, you just want to see the bathing beauties.
Yes, but this is a family show. Hey guys, you're supposed to do this off wax. Oh yeah. Here we go.
Okay, this is the pool
out there. Oh, where's the ladies?
Oh, look how refreshing that looks.
Yeah,
Marcus,
great pool. Where the ladies?
Marcus brought his bathing suit.
Ask and ye shall receive.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for that.
You're most welcome.
So once Marcus sits down again, we have an agenda. We will get to our agenda tonight, because I know a lot of people want to hear about the Avata drone. Over the weekend, all sorts of leaked pictures and information came out about the drone, and we're going to quote a couple Drone XL articles here. But just today, we've got real breaking news on Exo drones, a company we've covered over the last couple of months here that kind of popped up and kind of took over distribution in the U.S. from Hubsan for the Hubsan drones. And their CEO, Charlie, has been on many shows, and he's kind of a boisterous marketing guru or genius. I guess both of them, in this case here. But just today, we got a shocker. I've heard some rumblings early in the day that the Exo drones got sold to a Miami-based corporation. And I didn't want to say too much earlier because I didn't have confirmation. But then on Exo's Facebook group, Charlie confirmed them himself. So, I mean, it's definite. And I don't know a whole lot of details about it, except that, Charlie said he no longer is the owner of the company and he won't be an employee much longer either. But I just want to go around the panel and get some reaction to this. And I'll go straight to Marcus, because he actually has recently not only reviewed an Exo drone recently, but he received one from the company. So he's got some contact people over there. I don't know what's going to happen to those people, whether they will stay with the company or they're just leaving with Charlie. But I'm going to throw it to Marcus. We're going to get his thoughts.
Yeah, so I've been talking to Preston over there, and I'm going to get a hold of him just as soon as I can. And I don't know if he'll still remain an employee or not, but they said the headquarters is moving to Florida. And I'm trying to remember the name of the company. I think it was Open Store, something like that.
That's it. Something like that, yep.
And they're known for buying Shopify businesses and so forth. So this kind of fits that MO. It's kind of a similar kind of a business. And I guess the first thing I would say is congratulations, Charlie. I mean, he's a young man. We live in the United States in capitalism. Well, Lauren doesn't, and I see Sean that, but close enough. You guys have capitalism in Canada too, right?
Oh yeah.
I thought North Texas and all that. However, so I'm just saying, hey, he built a business and he sold it. So good for him. Now, the question for us is, listen, we know their main product, and that's the Hubsan drones, which is definitely a step up from what they had been selling, some of the lower priced bargain drones. And, we all know that Hubsan isn't at the level that we all like to do. And I keep telling people that those EXO drones weren't made for us. They were made for the guy that goes on to Facebook and sees an ad and says, hey, I want that. And they buy that. And you know what? They get a reasonable product, at least with the Blackhawk 2. I'm not going to say with the Mini. The Mini has got its own issues. However, what EXO was always known for was reasonable customer service. And I look in the chats. Yes, you're going to find a little anecdotal. Somebody said they didn't get treated right. But for the most part, when you look at their customer service, it appears to be pretty good. If somebody has a problem with a product, they replace it, and they give them tech support if they have an issue that they need to learn how to do something and so forth. Well, that's definitely. I mean, Ron and DeMarco and Mike, I know we've all had Hubsan drones, and that's definitely a step up from Hubsan, right? So,
Exactly.
So good on EXO for that. Now, here's the problem is, and Telemax Rotor is saying it right there, and that's exactly my point, is so now it's just a big unknown. We don't know, right? We don't know what this new company is going to do. Are they just going to blow these drones out the door on Shopify and you get it and good luck? So I guess we'll just have to see how that goes out. But, if they can, two things, if they can maintain customer service, if they can improve the product, and the main thing that everybody says, and I totally agree, is the products are somewhat overpriced. If they can tackle those three things, they'll be a successful operation.
Good.
A good comments. DeMarco, you've been following this story since the beginning, the whole EXO thing. What's your take on? What's your take on today?
Like Marcus said, have at it, bro. I mean, if he had a chance to make some money out of it, go ahead. I'm not mad at him at that
Right.
at all. Have fun. He's a young guy. Invest that money. Don't spend it. I'll say that to some older than you.
Well, he had to sell out EXO so he could buy out DJI, right?
And sell it about 30 times too. I'm not mad at him at all. The thing that just still bothers me about that, how he made it out to see that his drones were better than DJI drones, in which we all know that was a joke. So once he said that, it's sort of hard for me to take him seriously. That said, he was marketing, and he doesn't care what I think, because I wouldn't either. So but for the people who actually bought those drones, I hope that they work well. That's it.
Yeah, and now we kind of see all along why he went on basically a world, almost like a internet tour or whatever during the spring, promoting his company everywhere he could possibly do it, because he was probably setting up the sale even then, hyping up the company in advance. So whether it was good salesmanship, but if you were in a business 101 class, he would get a passing A+ for his efforts there. Whether it's good for the drone community is what we'll have to wait and see out, over the next, I guess couple months, half a year or whatever. Mike, I know you're not really a Hubsan guy or an EXO.
Well, I've had a Hubsan. I had Hubsan, but I agree. I think Charlie did a great job. Made a lot of sense. And, this deal doesn't happen overnight. It's been in the works for a long time. That it has to be. And I just tend to differ with what Lauren has said. Why would he want to sell EXO to buy an inferior company such as DJI?
Actually, the only thing I worry about is this going to be kind of like another FT Aviator, if you're familiar with that.
Marketing. He's marketing.
He
whatever happened to that guy too? Whatever happened to that company? I haven't heard anything.
Scott Parazansky.
Yeah.
As far as I know, his FT Aviator is still available, but it didn't sweep the industry like he thought it was going to.
Lauren, I've looked on his website. It's, I think, as well as recently as just a couple of weeks ago, but I think about 6 months ago or so, they don't even sell it anymore. You can't even buy it on their website.
Yeah.
Right.
The thing was good in principle. If anybody remembers it, it was good in principle, but the problem is you still needed to use your controller.
Right.
So like now you've just added something extra into the chain that's more stuff to deal with. You could have just used your phone and the controller or the FT Aviator. It would have been good.
Hey, but
Unless you just don't ask Bill to fly it.
Lauren, didn't DJI one up with the motion controller? I mean, really?
Pretty much, yeah.
Smaller in size.
Yeah.
Hey, Marcus, could you address Intel Maxwell's Motorola's comments there? He's saying, so could you buy Hubsan in the U.S. right now? He means today.
You know what? That is a great point. I do not know, number one. So would that nullify that previous agreement? Who knows? I have no clue. However, what I will say is this. Could this be, because I wondered, why was Hubsan still sending me drones for review, right? If they can't sell them in the U.S., and they just sent me their Ace Pro, which is the same thing as the Blackhawk 2.
Right.
So
unless you're very popular in some kind of small Asian country.
Well,
large Asian country.
I'm wondering now if maybe that dynamic has changed. I guess we'll find out. It'll be interesting to see.
Well, Lauren has Lauren worked for a kind of a drone retailer in Canada or reseller in Canada. From a that kind of perspective, you kind of in Canada you could not buy the Exo drone. I believe, is that correct, Lauren? It wasn't available to Canadians. I mean, without going through channels.
Well, the company that I did work for was actually an authorized Hubsan dealer,
right?
And I had mentioned to them to maybe look into the Exo drones, and so they sent off multiple letters, never received a reply. So,
right. Yeah. Well, what I'm getting to is from a retail perspective, with now, with the Hubs, the only reason there is an Exo drone is because they can't sell Hubsan. Now, at this point, if Hubsans could be sold again in the U.S., if this would some kind of agreement that they had, would it make any sense to even carry the Exo drone, which is a cost of their drone? And according to Marcus' review, they're pretty much hardware and software. They're 99.9% the same.
They're identical, other than the color. That's the only difference I can see.
Right. So we'll be interested to see what happens, and I don't know how the next week, next month, next 6 months, whether we will see Hubsan drones be coming back to the U.S. from Hubsan and being able to be activated, whether they'll live side by side but with Exo drones or
no. If I'm guessing, what they'll probably do is sell out of that stock of those drones, the Exo drones, and then go back to Hubsan or call them something else.
Yeah, who knows?
Well, here's one thing I don't agree with you on that, because of the fact that if this company come out and bought out Exo drones, they bought out Exo. They didn't buy out Hubsan.
Exactly.
Right?
True.
So that's your two separate companies there. Had this company bought out Hubsan, well, that's a different story. But they bought out Exo drones, so that's a separate entity, and that's what they are going to have to sell it under, because that's the company they bought.
And right? Exo Drones is a marketing company. Let's not forget that they're not really. I have a hard time defining them as a drone company because they don't
actually make them.
They don't. Well, it'd be different even if they engineered them and then had them made. That would be one thing. But they don't even do that. They are just rebranding somebody else's product. And that's fine. I don't see a problem with that. But you just have to know that that's what it is.
A good point, Marcus. You're basically just buying a name. You're just buying a name there, really. Well, and whatever physical inventory they currently own. But
exactly.
You're just buying a brand more than you're buying a product or.
But I'm sure that they ordered. They went to Hubsan and said, "All right, make 3,000 Black Hawks with the EXO thing on it, with the name tag on it, and make 5,000 Black Hawk minis." I mean, so those drones aren't going to be sold a couple of years from now. I mean, they'll have to move on to something else.
That's true. Hey, I got one more point to make, Ron, before we move off of this. And I have, in fact, I talked to you about this the other day, Ron. So I got out the Hubsan Xeno 2 the other day, and I hadn't flown that drone in probably a year and a half. And one of the defining issues of that drone was instability, particularly at low altitude, and it just always just moved around a little bit. So it was hard to be real accurate with it. I got that thing out the other day, and it had a firmware update. I did that. I flew it. Man, that thing was perfectly stable. So I'm saying Hubsan has been doing more than just the new drones. They, that's an older product that they continue to improve, and it flew really good. I had a great flight with it. So just a side note, just a point to make.
That is a good conversation, a very good point, and not to confuse people again. All this EXO and being bought out has nothing to do with Hubsan at all. Hubsan will continue to do business, especially worldwide, like they've always done or whatever. It will not affect the updates, their products schedule, their product releases or whatever. I mean, whether they slap a EXO thing on the side of the drone, it's still Hubsan. So if you're a fan of Hubsan drones, nothing to worry about.
I totally agree with that statement.
So, all right. Well, we've got a couple people missing here, but in the chat, they're begging us to start.
I'm still here. I'm still here.
They're begging us to talk about the Avata, the DJI Avata.
No, EXO. Oh, EXO Nation.
Yeah, we could go back again. Yeah. Maybe Charlie will buy us. Maybe we can sell ourselves to Charlie.
Yeah.
I do it. I wear an EXO shirt, a hat.
Yeah. Anyhow, over the course of the weekend, we got all sorts of leaked pictures of the Avata. We even have a picture of it in the box. It has AirSense. We're going to talk about air. We got Lauren here, but after this, we're going to talk about some of the testing he's been able to do with the AirSense and AD. I can't even say the letters.
ADSB.
Exactly. We're going to get into that a little bit because we had a good conversation about last week. So we're going to get in a little detail, but we're going to work with the Avata first. Anyhow, we saw the Avata in the box. We saw it out in the box. We saw it every different angle. We saw people flying in the field or whatever. Drone XL has released a couple articles on it already with some of the details or whatever. So, I mean, when you see all this stuff at once, it's getting closer to release because when you start piling this stuff on, it's coming soon. So anybody in the panel, where do you want to start with the conversation on any of the all the Avata stuff we got overwhelmed over the weekend?
That's the one that's way over my head. So I defer to all of you.
Don't read everything you're seeing.
Oh,
I'll just say that because there's some specs have been going out. There's one person that's putting out the correct specs, but there's others that are just kind of floating stuff out there that aren't quite, shall we say, up to snuff.
I've learned to listen to Uncle Lauren too. So.
Right.
You fool.
I'm just trying to find an article to maybe one of the Drone XL articles.
I'll just watch Drone XL tomorrow. Or I shouldn't say watch, but read his article tomorrow because let's just say I know that he got some information he's going to be releasing that everybody will want to see.
Okay.
Okay. Now this is from Drone DJ here. They published the specs on the side of a box. Where it says what's in the box.
Yep.
And they had the drone. They have an adapter, a screwdriver, a lanyard, the goggles 2.0, a screen protector, spare propellers, a manual, a motion controller, and that's interesting. A motion controller, eyeglass frames, USB-C OTG cable, one flight battery, dual band antenna, power cables, and they have battery again. Oh, that must be the battery for the controller, which they don't mention in the box here. A headband and a USB-C. So a lot of people point out that the standard controller is not listed on the side of the box.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because according to the contents listed, one list says it's included, another list doesn't. So,
I mean, but it's got to come in there. I wouldn't see them selling it without a controller.
Now, DeMarco, you have the what do they call that? I always forget what they call that motion controller. You have the motion controller for your DJI FPV drone.
Yes.
Would you wouldn't want to fly a drone full time with that, right?
I wouldn't want to do it full time. No, I mean, like you at Spin Up, you actually tried it. What do you think? I mean,
remember you had to come over. I could go out with it, but I couldn't get it back to me with it.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want to do it full time. No, I would definitely want both.
Wow.
But that said, like we all started with a regular controller. If you gave it to someone, and
if you get some video game person, they could probably
they might think it's different. So
yeah,
I hate to say it, but I'm old, boys.
Same thing. I've used the motion controller just a few times. I haven't used it a whole lot,
Yeah.
RC controller I like much better.
I think Lon's correct, and it all really depends what package you buy, because there's 3 different packages available. So depending on which one you buy, at least in my mind, because like I say, the info that I've got is clear as mud. But depending on what package you buy, you may or may not have a controller, because you can buy just the FPV, right?
Now, do you think that would be because it works with the controller from, say, the first DJI FPV drone?
I'm going to bet 99.9% that it will.
Wow, okay. That would be great if it did.
Good news.
Now, Deals Drones on Twitter, at Deals Drones on Twitter, he reports kind of specs here, somewhat not. He says it has an immersive flight experience, which of course all FPV drones do, I guess. It has a motion controller, has 4K stabilized video. It's palm size, which means it's much smaller than the original DJI FPV drone and agile. So I guess it's saying it's more agile than the current drone. It has a built-in propeller guard, and it has HD low latency transmission.
Less than 28 millisecond, yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And
now, this may be the false information that Lauren's talking about, but I have seen it quoted as 18 minutes of flight time.
No, that's right. That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you guys see that video?
Well, more specific.
Which one?
Well,
I've seen several.
There's a video, and 3 guys are.
Oh yeah.
And one guy's flying it, and it didn't look fast. Like, what's the top speed on it? I mean,
that's not in any of these specs in this article here.
For which?
The Avata.
The Avata is going to be slower than the current DJI FPV, right?
How much slower though? Like,
the DJI FPV in manual mode does 39 meters per second. The Avata only does 27.
So it's going to be similar to the Mavic 3 in speed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. In sport mode, it's 14 meters per second, and in normal mode, 8 meters per second.
So we all kind of know this is not necessarily a racing quad like not that the first one is, but it's more of a cinewhoop. So it's going slower on purpose to capture more stable video.
Right.
Yeah. And speaking of video, this is rumor here. It even says in your article this is rumored, but it's rumored to use a similar camera as the Mavic, as the Mini 3, which would mean 4K 60 video, 1.7 aperture, and a 1/1.3 inch sensor. So again, that's even in the article, it says that's rumor.
Right. It's same size sensor, but it's an f2.8.
Okay.
And yes, it does do 4K 60.
So it won't be quite as good in low light, which it could. You don't really fly FPV drones in low light. Well,
No.
some people do. Yeah.
Some do, yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't think any of them. Well, I shouldn't say that. DeMarco, Mike, and Marcus all own the DJI FPV drone, so we do have some FPV people on the panel tonight. I mean, I don't own the first FPV drone, and I really didn't know what to expect from this drone outside of just the rumors. But we'll say, Lauren, does this drone kind of meet your expectations?
I have none because I don't fly FPV at all.
You're in the same bucket I am. Yeah.
Yeah, I basically with my glasses, I messed around with the DJI FPV, and it just does not work with my glasses, no matter what I do.
Well, Lauren, I've got the lenses I put in my V2 goggles, and that's perfect for me without glasses. The prescription lenses are in the drone.
Oh wow.
Well, do you use progressive lenses? Because like my lenses are.
Normally I do, but I don't for the drone. No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I wear progressives too, Lauren. Hey, Lon's confirming in here the Avata is compatible with the old controller motion and goggles. So all you need to buy is the drone if you have the first one.
Yeah.
So that's very good news for people who have the first one, plan on holding on to the first one.
So Ron, now here's I'm gonna kind of nitpick here a little bit. Now, I may own a DJI FPV drone, but I suspect you have more experience flying one than I do.
Right, but I've never flown anything. I've never flown anything of that power. I've maybe flown more FPV, but most of them have been real teeny tiny whoop drones.
I personally witnessed you flying the DJI, and I think you've flown it more than I have.
I only flew with it was Mike's at spin up, and I only flew with the motion controller, and I couldn't even get it back to myself without DeMarco coming over to rescue me.
My point is, I am in no way any kind of an authority on those products.
Hey, Lon makes another good point in the chat here. He says with the camera quality on the Avata, you don't need to mount a GoPro on top of it like people did.
That's a good point.
DJI FPV drone.
Yeah.
Well, I've also read that it may not have acro mode at all or future.
Yes, it does. Yes, it
Yeah,
does.
I read that in one of the articles today. Good. It has acro and GPS.
Yep.
Good.
Yeah. Basically, they don't call it acro; they call it manual mode. It's basically the same three modes as the DJI FPV.
Okay, makes sense. If they're going to use the FPV controller, it would make sense. The switches on the controller.
Yeah.
So the reason why you would buy this if you already own the previous one is because camera.
It's definitely going to have a better camera, and the other one it's a Marcus drone. It likes to go fast.
Yeah.
and this one is it's a cine whoop.
And this one with this protected props will allow you to get in tighter spaces. It's smaller. It'll bounce off, some walls or whatever. So allow you to fly better indoors. Now, let's throw it to Mike and DeMarco both. You guys both own the original DJI FPV drone. Have you seen anything from these specs that would make you either add that drone to your FPV collection or maybe, replace the original with this new one?
Well,
Michael?
I don't have a problem. I think I will add it to it, being I can use the same V2 controller, and I've got the motion controller. I got the goggles. To me,
good point.
I'm worth trying it out. Yeah, I'll try it out.
Same here.
I want to know what kind of extra batteries is going to be. I've never seen that mentioned in any
right
online discussions.
No, same thing here. Like leading up to this, I had no interest in it, but now that I just found out that it works with all the stuff that I got already,
right?
I'm a little bit more interested though. But I'm not going to go out and buy it the first day. I'll watch all the videos and I might buy it the second day. But I'm not
Well,
in
the
a
nice-
rush to get it though, but it sounds good. It sounds good.
The nice thing, Michael, you only have to spend $629.
Oh, you told us the price. Great.
Lauren,
Oh,
let's say that quietly, Lauren.
Now,
Wife's
Lauren,
home.
thank you for the price of that. But do you think that will be? You think just ordering just a drone by itself will be
That's just
available
the
to
drone.
order on the first day? Because
And a battery.
you remember the Mini 3, you could not order the Mini 3 by itself on the first day.
No. I'm gonna leave the rest for Drone XL's Hayes article tomorrow, but he'll be releasing basically most of the stuff I'm telling you. So,
Okay,
Now, like
good.
you just said, $629, but in I mean, really, if you were buying it, it's $1,000 because like you got to buy more than one battery,
mhm.
and then like you got to buy refresh on it. I mean, so like you're at $1,000.
Well,
Yeah.
3 weeks ago, I had a nice little chat with a DJI regional manager, and we had quite a heart-to-heart talk. And I think I might have hurt her feelings because she didn't like some of the things I was saying, and part of it was that due to the internal shakeup at DJI a couple of years ago, the company has really changed, and now it seems like they're nickel and diming us, for any little extras that's going to cost you extra, whereas that extra used to be included.
We're on the Mini 3, that we're on the Mini 2.
Yeah. Yep. It's. But anyway, I digress.
Great comment on with regard to that confusion. I totally agree.
Yeah.
Hey, Lauren, can you address Air Photography's comment at all here? He said, "What I find strange is, according to the Drone XL article, they're selling a version of the Avata with the new goggles too, but also a kit with the older goggles. We do confuse things for everybody. Do you know anything about that? That comes with different versions of the goggles?"
Yes. And that's all I'll say, because like I say, I'm going to leave the rest.
Okay, yeah, we wait for the
I'm
article.
going to leave the rest for.
Okay. You have seen that, and what Air Photography is saying here,
Yep.
it is something to that. Okay, good.
Yep.
Good. So I see it's a lot of interest in the chat. Of course.
Before I want to interrupt.
Go ahead.
Since it's not really Avata, I'll slide it in there. But one thing nice is that motion controller will be very shortly going to be compatible with the Mini 3 as well as the Mavic 3.
That's
there.
Hey, Lauren, like you should have started with that.
Love it. Yeah, that's great.
Come on, man.
You buried the lead.
Good news, Lauren.
Woo! Yay.
Hey, Lauren, we're going to get Lauren. Any truth to the rumors that there's going to be a firmware update possibly this week that'll allow the Mini 3 to work with the RC Pro controller?
That's definite possibility. Yeah.
all sorts of good news here.
Lauren, I
yes.
have a question for you. Do aliens really exist?
Only in Arkansas.
Who killed JF? Who shot JFK, Lauren? Who shot?
Serious news.
Well, we pump Lauren a little bit too much on.
He didn't answer. He didn't answer.
On the Avata here, we're going to let him off the hook.
You'll wait till tomorrow.
Yeah. I'm Schultz. I know nothing.
Yeah. Actually, here's what we're going to do to save Lauren. We're going to switch to another topic that I think he could freely discuss. What we call AirSense on some of the recent DJI drones, like the Mavic 2 and the Air 2S. We had discussion about last week, and Lauren and Lon had a pretty good discussion in the chat about it. And since then, Lauren's and what AirSense is, or ADSB, is it warns you of planes flying close to you. And these planes have kind of transponders in them too, that you can see that on your Fly app screen. But there was a lot of talk about not working correctly on the Mavic 3. So Lauren went out and did a video last week where he went to a local airport. And I know what you're going to say. You can't find your airport, but Lauren Lauren had everything going, but the drone never lifted off the ground, so he did not fly. But I think it was a pretty good test of, and I learned a lot from that video. I never knew you could go into maps and do what you did in there. Lauren, you want to explain a little bit some of the testing you did out in the airport?
The whole process and why I came about this is because since I bought my Mavic 3, I have never ever received any kind of a aircraft warning.
And that's what a lot of people say. A lot of people say the
Right.
same thing.
Now, that being said, in version 01.00.05.00, DJI detuned the AirSense as well. And I took them to task on that because I said that information is not in your release notes. And I says it would have been nice for people to know that, but they said, well,
by detune, what do you mean, Lauren?
They made it so it wasn't as sensitive, right?
Okay.
So now, that being said, where I really started taking the task is I had a near miss. I had a airplane that was using ADS-B get within 500 lateral feet of me, and I received absolutely no warning.
Wow.
I could see them on the map.
Wow.
Okay, I could see them on the DJI map, but there was no warning, right? So that was the premise by which I decided to make that video that I did, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I decided that, okay, I'm not receiving any warnings, and I know some people maybe misconstrued what I said, but I didn't say that AirSense doesn't work. I said I've never received a warning, right? Now, that being said, my testing is I was in the, I parked myself basically in the glide slope of our local international airport, and you can't fly in the airspace unless you're using ADS-B. So that is guaranteed. And what I did is I pulled up the DJI map on my controller, and I picked an airplane, and I confirmed that airplane on Flight Radar 24 that he was, in fact, but like I say, it was actually showing up on the DJI as well. And so I just sat and waited. Hang on, back up 1 second. You can adjust your sensitivity, and I had mine on the highest sensitivity, right? And that's when I just went back and I waited until I could get a alert from the program, and I finally did get an alert. The program showed that the aircraft was 2.5 kilometers away, but when you look up at the actual aircraft, it was less than 1 kilometer away. Oh. Now, that aircraft coming in for landing is doing 140 knots, which is about 250 miles an hour. And it don't take you long to go 1 kilometer or 0.6 of a mile at 250 miles an hour. So that's where I had a real issue. And by the way, that was the very first time that I had ever received a warning from the AirSense. And that
on the Mavic 3.
On the Mavic 3. I've got them with my Air 2, no problem. Yes, go ahead, Marcus.
Well, I want to corroborate what you said, because just after you did that, Lauren, you posted that day. I think the next day I went out and I went to a city park that, like you said, it was right on the airway into the Boise airport. However, it was outside of, it was in Class G airspace. It was outside of the, Boise is a Class C airport. It was just probably a mile west of it. So you still had aircraft that were flying low enough that they should show up on your AirSense. So I took both the Air 2S and the Mavic 3, put the Air 2S in a hover, and, you know, an aircraft would fly over, I'd get that 8. And just like you did, Lauren, I set it on the most sensitive that it would go. And I got those warnings with the Air 2S. Did the same thing with the Mavic 3, And yes, just like you're describing, you can see the aircraft on the map, but you do not get the AirSense manned aircraft warning. I never got one warning with the with the tree. And so the issue is not that, like Lauren, like you said, ADSB is working, but it's not giving us that warning, and that's what you need.
And even if I got that warning at the rate that it was, if that was on the lowest setting, I'd be fine. But that was on the maximum setting for the maximum range, right? So, like, if to me that's a safety issue. If this is supposed to be a safety system, there is no way, if my drone would have been in his flight path, there's no way I would have had time to react. Literally, not a chance.
Good point. So,
either get rid of AirSense on it or make it work properly.
There you go. Totally agree.
And you know, just to be fair, Marcus, we get on, you know, Autel a lot for not adding that tracking or whatever that they advertise. So DJI advertised AirSense when that drone came out. So we need to be fair and balanced and get on them too about not having that function.
Yeah, well,
correctly.
listen a step further. DJI says it works, and Lauren and I.
Yeah, they sit there and argue with me left, right, and center.
Yeah, Lauren and I know it doesn't work. Yeah.
And that's why I'm saying anybody, if you don't feel that it's working the way you should, then you've got to speak up, because you know they're not going to fix what they don't know about. So
let me answer Lon. Yes,
Lon has a comment.
I was flying both drones, the Air 2S and the Mavic 3. I had them up, I don't know, probably 40 meters in the air.
Actually, Lon, that information is not correct, because I did, like I say, I did not even take off, but I did get my warning. And the fact that it would pick it up on the map shows you that the AirSense was working, but you do not need to be flying for the warning to work.
Good information.
Yeah.
Now DJI just needs to stop saying it's working and get it fixed.
We need to have a video go viral showing it, and then they'll say, "Oh, okay, it's not working." I mean,
I sent them the link.
I saw your video. Actually,
I sent them the link, right? And they said, "Well, we need you to send us the logs." And I said, "No." I said, "The aircraft was never, the motors were never running on the aircraft. There was no log generated."
Okay.
And they said, "Oh, yes, there is." And so, just to humor them, I went in and there was no log. So, but they insist that there is a log. It's like, did you not understand? The motors were never running. So,
interesting. So this is a story we have to keep, work on, because it's strange, because they have it working properly on the Air 2S.
Yeah.
So they haven't been able to transition whatever they got working right on the Air 2S over to the Mavic 3.
Lon says it's a more sophisticated system.
Okay.
No, it's exactly the same system. It's just on how they have it tuned, right? And they detuned it. Okay, they dumbed it down in that version update that I was talking about. And rather than that, they should have, like, most people don't know you can adjust your sensitivity. They should have just told people, pick the low sensitivity, right? And that would have cured their problems. But
or if you want, turn it off. You can turn it off if you don't want.
Yeah.
Here's the old, Lon brings up the big thing about why get worried of it playing 1,000 feet in the air.
I don't get one when it's 500 feet beside me. Why?
Yeah. So they definitely need to address that. Like you said, just keep talking about it, because if we're quiet about these issues, it'll never get fixed.
Here's where I'll answer Lon is, so I'm flying my aircraft. I'm focused on the FPV screen, flying the drone. I hear an aircraft in the air. If I get that warning and I can look on my screen and I can see the aircraft and I can look at the data, and I can see on the data that it's nowhere near me and it's way higher than me, then I can relax. I can just go about my flight. So that's why I want to know.
Mm-hmm.
And here's a comment. Alexa, I don't know how it runs with the E.
Alexis.
It says not all manned aircraft have ADS-B out in the U.S. It's only required for aircraft operating in controlled airspace. I think we kind of realize that. Yeah.
That is
Yeah, it's and
Good
it's
point.
the same in Canada. Same in
Good
Canada.
Good point.
But if you look at a sectional chart, you'll see a lot of the big airports, they'll have a big circle around the airport that says ADS-B required to fly in this area. Look, just next time you look at Seattle, if you look at the Puget Sound, there's a big circle around all of the Puget Sound in Seattle, and there's a line that says ADS-B
required.
Yeah.
Lon has another point. Isn't it possible that the Mavic 3 doesn't warn you unless it's an actual threat?
Well, that's what I answered earlier, and that's
okay. I'm sorry.
That's why I want to know. I want to know because, you know, I can hear it. I can hear that aircraft, but I'm looking at my FPV screen, and if I can get that warning, and then I look at the data on the little aircraft icon on my screen, and I can see that the path of the aircraft I can also see the height of the aircraft and know that it's not going to be a threat. That gives me the peace of mind to continue doing whatever bit of flight that I'm doing at that moment.
Mike, you haven't weighed in. Have you ever seen ADS-B work on your Mavic 3?
Not on the Mavic 3. I've had the same experience though with Air2S when I flew at Cloud Park.
Really?
Same thing. I had the ADS-B show up on my Air2S.
Just want to answer one comment Lon made there about not flying over 400 feet. Your regulations are pretty much the same as mine. And if you fly in areas like I do, a lot of times I'm flying in mountains. So I'll fly up the side of a mountain and my altitude is well over the 400 of my takeoff point. But I'm still under 400 AGL because it goes on the ground that's underneath your drone, not
right.
your takeoff point.
Right.
So, when I had that near miss, I was about 1,200 feet up from my takeoff point, but that is because I was pretty much over a mountain ridge. So.
Good. Hey, I want to welcome in our friend Sean Geeks Fauna over there in jolly old England. And Marcus, do you want to make a little announcement right now?
Well, no, that's not for me to make, but I can tell you, I know that Sean is interested in the EXO story. So he asked us to start over again. So, Ron, can we go back to the very beginning?
Yeah, I'll just read one. We're still waiting for Charlie to get in here.
Yeah.
Charlie's on the beach right now.
Yeah.
Hanging out.
Anyways, guys, I'm going to have to leave in a couple minutes here.
Thank you so much for coming and kind of helping us with, especially with that AirSense story, because that really is a confusing topic. And your video helped me make a lot more sense out of it. Really, it did, Lauren.
Okay, good. Glad to hear it.
Yeah, that was a good one, Lauren. That spurred me to go do some testing of my own too, and you made some great points.
And like I say, if you get out there and test it, you might be shocked that what you were counting on as a safety system wasn't quite as safe as you thought it was. So get out there and test, and if it's not working, then report it, because this is not a knock on DJI. It's just this is a safety system. Let's get it working properly.
Right.
But no, Lauren, this is a knock on them because they are like a cruise ship. Like they don't wake up until iceberg's right in front of them, and they'll fix it. Oh, wow, we missed another one though. But I am sure, like, you're not the only person to call, and the person who you are speaking to on those phones should say, "Hey, okay, hold on for a second. Let me speak to an engineer or my boss, and they can speak to an engineer, and then show them that video."
Well, none of that, but a lot of people that I found, I thought it was just me that's having this issue.
Right.
No, not,
Yeah.
Right.
So, Anyways, good night, all.
Good night, Lauren.
Hi, Lauren.
Take care. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Take care.
Stay cool up there in Calgary.
I'll try.
Good night, Lauren.
Night, Lauren.
Pleasure.
Good night. You know, I just realized we've gone almost an hour here. We've hardly talked about the DJI Mini 3 drone, which has been almost the main topic of almost every show for the past couple months.
Yeah, it still flies.
Yeah, it's
It
fine.
still flies. You have it with you, Mike. Are you flying your Mini 3 a lot now?
I flew it yesterday and the day before. Yeah,
In the heat, even.
in the heat.
Now, have you got any overheating warnings with 100-degree
I've
temperature?
never had an overheat warning on it.
Good.
I have.
Because
I
I
don't
still
let it
get that
hover
all the time. We had somebody comment in the show a couple weeks ago. They said that we avoid talking about the overheating issues on the drone. And I mean, I tried to be as civil as I could, saying, well, I mean, I don't have them, and that's why I forget to talk about a lot. And I don't think anybody in the panel has the overheat. I mean, Marcus, you saw it once, but
I did, and it was on a day that I was doing well. It's when I did that video on return to home, so I was doing a lot of takeoffs and landings, and the drone was sitting on the pad in 100-degree plus weather. In fact, I was right up at the limit of what DJI says you can fly the drone at, and it did eventually give me an overheat warning, and in fact, it shut down. And it was on the pad. It was sitting on the pad when it did, and yeah, I just gave it a couple of minutes in the shade and took off again, and it was fine.
Yeah. Hey, Stevie made an excellent comment up here. You know, he said, you know, you would want all we want is to work like it does on the Air 2S.
Hey, that's a great point. That's exactly.
Yeah, that's a great point. We just want to work like it does on the Air 2S. We're not asking for any miracles or anything. Just get it working like we're used to see it working. So
hey, I say this all the time. It's like when you wrote that check to them or gave them a credit card, you didn't give them half the money or 80% of the money that they asked for. You gave them all of it, didn't you? So
right.
come on,
right.
man.
We're not going to get a $100 rebate back because it doesn't work right or anything. Yeah, it's very, very true. So, hey, a couple other small articles here. I know for our Autel fanboys out there, and I'm just joking about that. The Autel Sky app was updated last week to version 1.4.20. It's 163.6 megabyte files. It didn't really do anything earth-shattering. It added a few little things that I didn't write that were so inconsequential I didn't even write them down or whatever. But just be aware of that update. And somebody already told me that removed the tracking. The hidden tracking feature that John and I recently discovered that kind of wiped it out. There's I guess Autel's watching DroneNation and Giant Drone Flyer now.
So, Ron, there was also a firmware update, and I have not had the opportunity to do it yet because obviously.
For the Nano.
Yeah, that's well, I saw it on a Facebook page.
Okay.
So I didn't try and do it yet, so I can't confirm it. But yeah, so
I was away for the long weekend. I did not have that drone with me, but I will get it out tomorrow. And well, the app's already updated the phone, but see if I can see a firmware update for it. So that's good. And let's see, we didn't get to mention this when Laura was here, but OsitaLV, our good buddy OsitaLV over on Twitter, he reports that the Phantom 4 RTK and RTK SE, they're about to stop selling them. And when I say they, DJI, mass production has already ended, and it pretty much means that the Mavic 3 Enterprise is near, because that will take the place of that Phantom 4 Enterprise drone. So I wish I could have brought that up when Lauren was here. None of us are really Enterprise owners, but I know Mike's interested in like the Phantom 4's ability with a mechanical shutter.
Right.
Do you think there's any chance that they could put a mechanical shutter on a Mavic 3 Enterprise, Mike?
I've thought about that because at one time I'd originally seen some early rumored specs that the Mavic 3 was going to have a mechanical shutter, but then it wasn't released with it. So
maybe they
surprised
make
the
it.
Enterprise didn't come up with one. Yeah.
Yeah, special version just for that.
Right.
that
I still love my Phantom 4. In fact, I bought 3 more batteries the other day for my Phantom 4.
Oh wow!
Just to have
Before you can't find them anymore, huh?
Exactly. It's a good machine. It'll continue to be for mapping. Yeah.
And another quick story here. Gorilla Man, our friend Gorilla Man, he did a very comprehensive beginner's guide for the FIMI X10 smart controller. I mean, he covered it soup to nuts. I mean, right up to the point where he was, started drone. He didn't fly with it yet, but he covered every little bell and whistle on that smart controller. So if you're a FIMI guy, if you have any interest in that smart controller, this is the video to watch.
Let me give you a tip for that smart controller that you should remember. I mean, those FIMI drones are known for a little bit of a tilted horizon. If you just hold that controller at a little bit of an angle, you'll never miss it.
If they did build that in, Marcus, they'd sell a ton of them, huh?
Yeah. You just hold it at a little angle. That's all.
You got to touch your head too when you fly.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, so it's kind of been an exciting weekend, really. I mean, with all the Avata leaks and then the XO news coming today, a lot's happened, and exciting. I mean, I don't know if the XO story is good news, bad news, whatever. We're going to have to see that going forward, but it's definitely good. With all this has dropped this past weekend, we've seen this with the last couple of DJI releases. When you get too much information coming at you real fast, what does that mean? That means it's close.
Oh yeah.
It's close.
It's imminent.
That's a good word.
Yeah, we have learned that lesson.
Yes.
We'll know more tomorrow. So
yeah. I mean, Lauren threw around the 24th and then said general release on the 6th or whatever. So I definitely believe those dates are possible. Again, just going we already know it's in the FCC database, so we already know it's approved to be sold in the US at least. And again, these leaks are just coming too fast or whatever. And pretty much just confirms that probably all the big YouTube testers that get all the DJI drones, they probably all have it now. They're probably all out flying it as we speak right now. So
Ron, but okay, so it comes out on like whatever date, the 24th or the whatever.
Yeah.
But will they do the not shipping again until October 1st?
That is the key. That's key question number 2. Key question number 1 is and Lauren either couldn't talk about it or he's waiting for the Drone XL to reveal it tomorrow. What's your ballpark on the price now that you've seen all the latest round of information? I mean, if you say I'm saying, what if you don't have anything? What if you never owned the DJI one? You have to buy the full kit for this. What do you think the cost is going to be for the full kit?
I think Lauren gave us the price, didn't he?
No, he said he said it would be announced tomorrow.
Oh.
So I think Maddie gave a price guess in the chat. Maddie said between 1,214.
I think
I mean that sounds decent.
Yeah.
So that's that's not a cheap drone by any means. That means that puts it squarely. Well, it's higher than any DJI camera drone except for the Mavic 3. Any consumer DJI camera drone rather than the Mavic 3.
Yeah.
So,
but that's with the goggles. That's with the controller.
That's if you don't have anything, right?
It's everything now.
If you're already invested in the DJI FPV universe here, and you already have controllers and goggles and what have you, yes, you know what price? Here's the price Lauren gave us, Marcus: $629 if you just buy the drone.
He said that, yeah, he did.
Yeah, that's what he did say.
We did. We can't quote him on that.
Yeah.
So now, do you think that's a pretty fair price just for the drone?
I think that sounds reasonable to me, especially if you're getting the camera that he's talking about. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I agree. I think it's a good price.
And we kind of learned, a lot of people, including John Coopy, helped us learn that the most expensive bits about these FPV drones is not necessarily the drone itself. It's all the equipment, like the goggles and the controllers and all that stuff.
It adds up fast.
Yeah.
Hey, Ron, I've also got to get running. I'm kind of keeping my family waiting. So
yeah, they're going to go out to dinner.
That's exactly right.
Okay,
All right, sir.
Hey,
take care, Mark.
don't have them call you late for dinner, right?
Oh, never.
So thanks for reporting in from the road. You give us that occasional Vegas, forecast every once in a while. So thank you. You're in Sin City there or whatever they call it.
Sin City.
Send
That's
some
Now, if
pictures,
you bump,
Marcus.
if you bump into Bob Dempsey, which I think he's getting back. I think in a couple of days.
Bob. Yeah, I think Bob is still on a cruise ship, isn't he?
I think he's back. I think he's back this week though.
Oh, maybe so. Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you bump into Bob Dempsey, tell him we said hello.
If I run into him, I shall.
All right. Good night, and
Bye, Marcus.
have a good time out with the family.
All right.
See you, sir.
Yeah,
Good
Marcus.
night.
All right, boys.
All right, so we're kind of winding down here tonight. We kind of covered everything. Did we have any more comments or things that we didn't bring up about any of the subjects? I guess particularly the Avata drone. Anything that caught your eye that we didn't cover?
Not to know. I don't think we covered everything we could.
Yeah, it's just I'll probably see more leaks this week, I guess. I guess the big thing is people want to know. People want to know the price. Number one, well, I guess number one, they want to know the release date. Number two, they want to know the price, and then like DeMarco said, number three is they want to know when it will actually ship. Like if release date just means the day you can order it, that's different from the day you can get it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, if they say, okay, you can get it on this day, but it won't ship until a week later, a week or two. All right. But that BS that they pulled last time without saying anything, and we were all waiting and texting back and forth and calling DJI. Come on, man. I mean, you don't do any business like that. Any business, you don't do that.
Not mention a tracking number or whatever. And like a week is acceptable. If they say you can buy it on, they'll say the 24th and ship a week later, perfectly acceptable. Even 2 weeks. But whatever you say, make that the real timeline.
Yeah. Hey, no business can operate like that and be successful. Now they got us once, but they can't keep doing that because people will drop. They're like, I'm done with them. Right. Or they'll wait for months, until it's been out for a while.
Until it's readily available, right?
Yeah.
Right. Hey, Ken replaced it here. He said he got an overheating warning last night when he was updating it. And I suppose he means the Mini 3, since we talked about overheating on that a while ago. So, that's so I mean, some people do have the overheating with the Mini 3. It's definitely an issue, but I don't think it's widespread. I mean, Mike, if you don't overheat in Texas, it's not that. I mean, I know Ken's in Florida, but I mean, to you Texans, Florida's a cool spot, right?
That's right. Again, I update indoors. Indoors.
Right? Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you guys go to Texas. I mean, Florida to cool down.
Yeah, we've had 30 some odd consecutive days at 100 plus.
Is this the hottest summer you remember, Mike? Or
oh no, we had 51 days in a row back in 81 or 82, something like that.
Hey, Maddie's telling Brad Arrows not to wait for the Air 3, not until next year, and I agree. I don't think there's an Air 3 on the horizon this year. What do you guys think?
I hope not. Yeah, I hope not.
Yeah, I mean the Air 2S isn't a drone begging for an update, right? I mean, it's already, even though it's a little over a year old, it's still one of the better drones out there.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yep.
Dr. Tadalo, it has to be fun and be cool. Bob Casey Arrows, thank you for joining us tonight. Michael over Fly Zone. We shouted out the meetup at the beginning of the show if you weren't here, Mike. Joe Blaylock. I think Joe's liking that. I saw some of his comments. He's liking that new FPV Cinewhoop. I know Joe would do amazing things with it. Johnny Drone Flyer. Either Johnny's watching the show from the boat, or Johnny's back in town again. Johnny was on a cruise ship down to Mexico. Johnny was partying all the way down to Mexico and back. I think he went to Cozumel. I'm probably getting all this wrong, but I know he was on a cruise ship. Salmon Rose FPV, welcome in. Brand Arrows, welcome. We already got Ken. Charles G, thanks for joining us tonight. 107 Drones, thanks for, you've been here the whole show. Thank you so much. Maddie's Drone World, thank you for joining us. Dr. Ted, thanks. Of course, Mike's on the show with us. Quadcopters of Tech, thank you for joining us tonight. There was a major parts to that update. Lexa, thanks for joining us tonight. So thanks to everybody who joined the show. Ron, thanks so much for bringing all the information you bring to the show every week. Thank you so much. So we're going to wrap this up a little early tonight. I think we kind of covered everything tonight, and give us more time to get back to our computers and check out the latest round of Avata rumors, and so it's coming soon, folks. So if anybody is interested in that drone, just get your credit card ready, and I'm sure it won't be too long now. So Mike, you have any closing thoughts? And I want to, before you say that, I want to thank you so much for coming on tonight and being the special guest host tonight. You have any closing comments, or anybody
being on the show? And I'm looking forward to hearing what Drone XL has to say tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll
know a lot more
closely.
Sounds like we may know everything. So the way they talk, So.
Right. DeMarco, you have any closing shots, as they say on the talk radio?
Nope. All good. I hope everybody gets some flying in, and fly safe and have fun, everybody. Ladies and gents.
And keep the finger in the buy button if you want the Avata. Stay close to that buy button. So, yeah. Folks,
how about yourself, Ron?
Pardon?
I said, how about yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'm a candidate for the Avata drone. I had the whole issue with the goggles and the glasses and the seeing and whatever, but we'll see. We'll let it come out, and I definitely won't be buying Open Day. We'll be watching all the reviews of the big channels. Our good friends like Billy Kyles and Aldrin's, and I know our air photographer a while ago. I know he doesn't get the drones ahead of time, but he's very interested in his drone. So I'm sure he'll be doing his best to purchase it. So yeah, so again, I'm looking forward to seeing it come. What I'm really looking for mostly is that day where the reviewers put their videos out.
Yeah,
really, guys, that's what I want to see. Those guys flying and showing it off. So okay,
all right, guys.
Yeah. And thanks so much, everybody, joining us in the chat. I know it's summertime, and I know a lot of people, have things to do in the summer, but thanks for joining us. And it won't be too long before we'll be back with DeMarco's football picks.
Yes, right.
It's gonna be a good season. Now Mike would like to pick a few more Cowboy wins this year, but you gotta do what you gotta do, though, right?
You need to pick some of the collegiate sports too, Marco.
Yes.
What sports? What sports?
The sport,
college football.
Football.
Yeah.
Oh, college football.
There's a Florida team joining the Big 12.
No. Oh, wait. Who is it?
Yes, a Florida team is joining the Big 12 in next year. One more year away.
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah, but it's UCF, right? USF.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
They're not one of the big boys.
Exactly.
Well,
I look at it that way too.
If we got him picking college games, there's so many college games, we'd have to start another show up.
Yeah.
He only does the Monday night games, Mike. So in case you got to miss the Monday night game watching DroneNation, you still got to know who's going to win.
Exactly. You got to keep up with it.
Yeah. So, all right. Good night. We'll
all
see you
right,
next
guys.
week.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.